And now we're going to explore the wisdom on World Radio Day with Arlinga Pandega, the maestro of airwaves and senior announcer at Most Radio, to unveil the magic behind the mic and the art of storytelling. Hello, Anga. Thank you for joining us. Such a pleasure to have you. So I've known Anga for quite some time, and now Anga has a radio show in Most Radio with his partner Indi Rahmawati. So tell us about your program, Anga. Anga, apologies. I think your mic is on mute. Can you unmute your mic, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
For the
now,
radio.
loud and clear. Thank you, sir.
It's kind of embarrassing. Okay,
yeah. Back to the question. Can you explain a little bit about your program?
Young radio now. Now I'm in a political radio, adult radio. So my show is about we are claiming ourselves as a news radio nowadays. So now I become the journalist as you, Uli and Audrey.
Awesome. So I'm actually one of the his listener. I listen to them almost every morning, and it's such a fun program. So they usually talk to a lot of people also about political issues, since it's a news radio. Yes. So it's really interesting, especially now in the election season. We need all the information. So how long have you been working in radio, and how did you came in contact about radio and started working in radio when you were way younger than now?
Yeah, I consider myself as a lucky person because I joined the radio at the heyday of the radio in the 90s. It was back in 1993, I guess. So I joined Prambors Radio at the moment. It's the #1 hit radio station for the youngsters. And I was only 19 years old back then, I guess. So it was come at my surprise that they accept me as one of the DJ in Prambors Radio back then.
I remember the good old times. So Audrey Anga used to did radio also with another radio personality called Irfan, who now works, I think, in VOA in the United States. You work in VOA as well. It's probably met the guy. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, possibly I have heard of him. Wow, and since 19 years until now, that's like so amazing. I mean, and radio, I think it's such a pivotal medium of communication. Can you share how do you think it has evolved since you started at Prambors at 19 until now?
Yeah, I mean, started as a DJ at the Prambors Radio at a young age, and the listeners also young people. So I'm very close to them. I mean, basically, radio at back then was kind of a pinnacle of the lifestyle of people in Jakarta, because we are spreading not only the music, we are also spreading if you still remember the languages, the language of the young people, the lifestyle and everything. So it's been a great opportunity for me to share everything to the young people back then.
So Anga, as Audrey said, you began your career in the radio since you were 19, and I'm sure now in the year 2024, there's been a lot of changes as well. Technically, what was the changes that happened in the radio when you were 19 compared to where we are now? Because, as I remember, way back then, we had like cassettes and CDs, and now
it's probably a bit different.
Probably a bit different than the way it used to be. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit about the changes inside the radio station.
Yeah, I mean, Uli, I don't know about Audrey, but I think Uli and me the product of the same generation, the X generation. When you said there was a cassette, a CD, and everything. Nowadays, people listen to the Spotify, digital era, and everything. Yeah. And back then, there's only a few radio stations. Now there are so many, but I think the only change, one of the primary change in the radio business is that we have to struggle, and we have to struggle in this digital era, competing with the Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and other social medias. That's the biggest
Sure.
challenge we have right now.
Yeah, completely agree with you. So, what has been the strategies that the radio people nowadays use to do that? I mean, because there's a lot of
Yeah,
competition, like what
that's
Anga
true.
said, from TikTok, and also people listen to music from Spotify and probably Apple Music and other apps.
Even on
So-
YouTube, too.
and YouTube also as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
podcasts are
Podcasts.
rampant everywhere. So,
Yes.
yeah, what has been the strategies that you guys in radio use to combat these 2024 trend?
Challenge. Take for example my radio station. We're not claiming as an FM radio. We actually dropped the point. You know, we used to say 105.8. Now we say 105.8 because we dropped the FM because we are no longer the main media like we used to be. I mean, radio is becoming part of the other media like Instagram and also Twitter and YouTube channel. Basically, now radio becoming one of the media. Not all, back then in 1990s, we are a sole. I mean, there's only one channel that you listen to: the music, the lifestyle, and everything. And one of the biggest advantage of the radio is we are a very intimate media because we accompany people, commuting in the morning, in the afternoon, and now we have a challenge. If we say that radio magic is intimacy. Now we have a TikTok live. We have also Instagram live, right? Where you could communicate with your audience like the radio used to do. So the difference is now we are part of the media's. What people say. If you can beat them, you have to join them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, this is absolutely true because I've heard also from other friends that works in the radio industry that some radios is dropping the FM thingy from their call station because back then it was the only way the radio spread their audio.
Yeah.
But now people are trying. They're still trying to be in the audio industry, but using other ways and other means as well.
Different methods as well.
Yeah,
as
like
TikTok
digital. So
lives.
they've been going digital as well.
And I think that's a really good point that you mentioned, Anga, of the intimacy part of radios. Because I actually still remember growing up. I grew up in a generation that still used cassette tapes, and I used to listen to radios all the time. And it would always be like I have a companion, like in the car or at home,
a friend.
A friend. And the radio announcers, like you're always speaking to the audience. It's like we're friends, and so like there's always that personal part that I think can't be substituted with any kind of new media. During your career, what do you think have been some of the highlights and stories that you can especially share with us? I mean, I'm sure that you've had plenty because you said you are a senior announcer and you've had so many experiences. Can you share some stories that are just like highlights of your career moments, Anga?
Okay, besides meeting all the audience back then, joining their activities like high school exhibition and everything. So it's becoming part of the lifestyle of the people of Jakarta. One of the greatest moments I had is interviewing some significant people, famous singers and a politician and everything. I used to have an interview with Jokowi, our president right now. Back then, he was just a mayor of Solo, right? And then I had a chance to have an interview with a legendary singer, Krisha.
Wow.
That was the pinnacle of my career, I think.
We are screaming in unison.
Yes, we are. Wow.
Yeah, it was a great moment because he had he has so many songs, and I had a little quiz for him. Like I play the intro of his songs, and he has to guess what's the title of the song, and he completely blew it up, and he was laughing because he didn't even know what the song I play. That's something I can I always remember about my job as being the radio announcer.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So, Angga, a lot of people don't know about what's happening behind the scenes in radio. So, say about your morning
Yes.
show, you guys are on air from, I think, 6 until 10 or 11 or something, right?
10 o'clock, right? Yes.
Until 10. So, tell us a little bit about the behind the scene. What was the preparation like every day? Do you have meetings with your producers? How do you collaborate
Yeah.
with your partner to be able to execute such a wonderful morning show that people listen to every morning?
Yeah, we had a daily meeting about our topic for because we are claiming ourselves as the radio with the most trending news and everything. So we have to follow every day what is becoming trending now in Twitter. So we have a daily meeting, what we're gonna have for tomorrow's topic, and also at the same time we are looking for our people who we could have an interview or something. But that will be like it's a daily job for us, and we have also a monthly review for what we had in a month or something like that. And usually behind the mic it's pretty hectic because we
sure.
have to call a very busy people, politicians, and and other people who's very busy also interviewing with some other media. So it's pretty hectic back there at the studio.
So, how many people you have in your team every morning? Is just the three of you, or?
Me, Indy, my partner, and also my producer, and now sometimes we have also one other people to help us. So there are four of us, I guess.
So in their show, they talk to a lot of people, experts, professors, etc., who are who can give us more insights about what's happened politically, economically, and many more. So usually, did you book these people days before, or everything happened in real time?
Yeah,
And
at that moment, possibly,
And also, one of the big questions that people are asking about radio is radio still live on air like way back then, or is it now something that the radio broadcasters taped and then put on air?
Oh.
Can you elaborate about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the experts, to be honest, most of the time it's pretty at the spur at the moment. We of course the day before, of course, I had so many experts to be called, and we had an appointment at the day, but most of the time, we have sudden ideas about what's the other thing, what's the other issue that we have to talk about. So many times it's just it's impromptu and at the spur at the moment. And what is the question, Uli?
Are you guys
sorry.
still live,
people
like
asking.
way back,
Live,
like
yeah.
way back then,
Okay.
or are you like live on tape, or how does it work?
Nowadays, with the help of technology, we could also have we call it a live delay. We tape,
Live delay.
we record
Okay.
our interview because people are very busy, and then a few moments later, and we make it on the air. So,
All right.
and we're not recording the days before, or
Right.
just about a few minutes before, and then sometimes we go live like you do right now, but it's challenging because we have to call many experts at the same time.
So since it's in live delay, you have the opportunity to edit what you talk about as well. Have you ever had
Yes.
have it ever happened that you have to edit what you talk about because I don't know, sometimes maybe the experts want something to take out or whatever?
Yeah, it does happen
Oh,
quite.
okay.
I
Yeah,
guess.
sometimes it happens, but most of the time we are, you know, we are we want our interviews to be as true as we can, but we don't want to edit, you know, so much, and then
Mm,
it's going to lose the you know the essence of the interview.
Mm,
So probably there's only minor
yeah.
editing.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Audrey, what's
On
really
that.
interesting about their show, I mean, they have experts coming in, and sometimes they throw questions that's like
I'm
considered.
sorry, I'm losing your
Oh,
voice
can you hear us?
Can
right
you hear
now.
us,
Can you hear
Leo?
us, Anga?
Okay, now.
Okay.
Okay.
So, because I'm one of their listeners as well, so I listen to their interviews, and it's so fun. And it's also sometimes, you know, it's quite a dangerous topic. You know, sometimes it's a hot topic. You
Oh.
know, so how do you navigate to be able to deliver an interesting show? You know, but in the same
Mhm.
time, you know, push the envelope a little bit to make it interesting, but also to keep it safe, I guess, from lawsuits. So I
I
mean,
mean, that's quite important.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, to
So
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you work as a journalist in a radio during a talk show?
Yeah, of course, our job is, you know, is really on the brink of.
Mm, mm,
Sometimes it's pretty dangerous because we are asking the question that people want to ask, but they hesitate to ask the expert or the political person or the politician about one issue, like the one we had right now about the election and everything. And
Mm,
now we have issue about many other things. Uh, oh, so it's pretty, you know, it's pretty challenging for me
mm-hmm.
to stay uh, focused to the question, and sometimes I have also you know a drive to ask a little further about the issue. And yeah, we know we are the media, the radio, the television. We have a set of rules that we try to maintain that. But I think as long as you ask the questions that people would like to know, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's okay, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's our job as a journalist. That's our job as a radio announcer to tell the truth to the people about what really happening and what really the issue is about all about. You know.
So I guess there has to be a good balance as well, Uli, of walking on that tightrope, right? I got to, ask the
Tightrope.
questions, but also still be as relevant as possible. And one of the things I always
Yeah.
admire
You're
about
breaking up. I'm losing you guys
mhm,
again.
it's
I guess the signals is.
yeah, and I always admire how in radio, especially, uh, there's always this swiftness, or it's people always say it's one of the fastest methods of communications, especially let's say people are driving or they're listening on the radio, but they don't have their phones on. So that's truly the only source of news that they get. And I've heard that radios get their news ultra fast, or probably one of the fastest to get it. How does that work? Are there like intels on site, always listening to things that are happening? Like, Uli can, tell us more about, because me as a radio listener,
right.
I'm always like, how do you know these things first before,
They have probably moles everywhere.
yeah, like, are there, you plant people to listen in on these things? Like, do you get tips? Like, I'm always so curious.
Yeah, we try to do our best to put everything in efforts. Like we are monitoring all the news stations, and we have a field reporter to get the news. And the main advantage of the radio is we're not like you said, it's pretty fast because we could deliver it as fast as we can, without any delay or something. That's how the radio is all about. I mean, but now, I mean, the challenge is that, like you said, I mean, not so many people have a radio FM thing in their homes, in the car. I mean, everything's on the hands right now, in the handheld and the smartphone and everything. Radio also you can also listen to the radio via your phone, but I don't think many people would do that, right, Uli?
Right, I don't think so. So Angga, one of the big part about radio is also the listeners, right? So is there any interesting story that you have about your interaction with the listeners in your career as a radio personality?
Yeah, I mean, for my radio, I used to work at a Prambors radio station, and the mantra is that you have to be yourself. I mean, like, you don't change your name, you don't change your air names or something. You use your real names and be as true as you can, and because you represent the generation that you are. You represent the generation. You also talk like them, walk like them, eat something similar food like them, and you talk the same way. So I guess it's just being like being a truly friend to our listeners, and that's something that I always have in mind as a radio personality. I mean, we are the closest friend you have.
All right. So last question, Angga, what are your hopes and wishes for the radio industry this year? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. First of all, happy World Radio Day to Uli, also Audrey, and all the broadcasters out there. And I know we are struggling right now in the digital era because, we used to be the number one media, like you said, the most intimate media, the most fastest chart show, or the fastest news and everything. Now there are social medias and everything. So I hope that we have to redefine, and we have to rethink again about the existence of the radio in the digital era. And I still have a glimpse of hope that a radio still have a place in everybody's heart because the intimacy and everything. So I still have a high hope on the radio, I guess.
Arlingga Panega, thank you so much for your time and best wishes for you and your team. And please say hi to your partner, India Rahmawati. Happy World Radio Day.
Happy World Radio Day.
Happy World Radio Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, wow, that was definitely a lively conversation, Uli.
A lot of fun.
Yes, lots of fun. I gained lots of insights from you as well on as a former radio announcer, and now we have a broader view of what World Radio Day is. Yes.